Good welcome, citizens. The balance batch is upon us. Look at this, dog. Look at this. Wow. Okay. The balance patch is upon us, and super excited. Basically, it looks like they've nerfed every meta deck that is currently in the game in some way or form. So this, I think, from the ashes of the old, we're gonna have some new decks. So let's just jump right into it, and we're gonna just talk about quickly what each change is, and then I'm going to do a paper tier list here. Don't put too much stock in those, but what these mean is basically these are what units I think might be good in the upcoming meta. We're not going to linger too hard on it, but use it at your own risk and go forth and experiment. That's what this is all about, right? You want to try new stuff. This is the best time in the rivals time, I guess, because you get to try new things. You get to try new decks and see what new synergies come up. Very uncertain time for many, but it's a very fun time. Very fun time. Tiberium harvest rate reduced during late game to balance usage of all units. Just quickly here, this could be over the course of a 3-minute game. This could be anywhere from 50 to 600 Tiberium lost. So hopefully it's a little bit more modest and more middle ground. And hopefully it just makes it so you have to preserve the value of your units if you're single harv, and it slows down tech spam if you're double harv. But we'll see how it turns out here. Tech lab change makes it a little bit harder to get tech early. Base health increase makes it harder to rush the base. I still think it's a viable strategy, but it'll be a lot harder, especially if you are a good player. Against the average player, I think base rushing is still going to be a very viable option. Strong arm APC changes. I think these changes together make it a lot harder to get online and get control of the map with APC Fortress. So probably not going to be seeing as much strong arm and APC in the patch, but could be wrong here. I'll have to just play it by ear. Talon and jump jet troopers. I think the Talon change is not that big of a deal, but it will make it a little bit harder to flip pads. Talon's just a very versatile unit. Jump jet troopers, on the other hand, being lowered to faster, it's going to make it harder to flip. There's still going to be a superb first missile unit, especially against GDI, unless you're up against snipers. If the meta snipers, jump jets are just done. But otherwise, jump jet troopers, they're going to suffer a little bit from this movement speed nerf because they're not going to be able to get into position in time to actually start attacking before they're losing models. So this could be a very big nerf to them. But I still think they're a very strong unit just because you can't block them, right? So if you're good at flipping pads, jump jet's still probably good, but probably not the best. Nod changes, Banshee, it's a Talon equivalent. Not going to be good at soloing bikes, not going to be good at soloing pit bulls for sure, not going to be good at that. But otherwise, love the Banshee change. A little bit sad that it's not, it's not a powerhouse, but with the economy changes, I think this change has a potential to really turn the meta on its head more than any other. And looking forward to see what kind of decks people come up with here, what synergies. I'm definitely thinking Stealth Tank plus Banshee is a good setup, and then like Bikes plus Phantom, maybe it's the other good setup. So it gives Nod a little bit more of a toolkit to work with here. Pretty cool. Catalyst Gunship, they potatoed this. Look at this. Look at this butt blasting. Weapon damage reduced from 510 to 200. It doesn't even one-shot lasers anymore. Yeah, I don't think I would run this. This makes it so it instant blows up bikes on the 4th shot. Cost increase to 60. Okay. Speed to faster. Yeah, I wouldn't play Catalyst Gunship, but it might be fun to play it with the Kim combo now that it's not nuclear one-shotting all the heavy infantry. So we might see a return to the beefy boy meta, the big infantry meta, heavy infantry meta, because of this nerf. So pretty exciting there. Shade, I think this is actually a good change, honestly. The Catalyst Gunship, even though they over-nerfed it, will come back later, and maybe they change it so it one-shot snipers, but it's not one-shotting shocks and flames, and it's not two-shotting the heavy infantry. You have kind of a good balance where it pushes snipers back if they feel too oppressive, and then it's kind of a good answer to other heavy infantry. Maybe tweak the gas explosion or something. Shade, nerfed to not be that good against basically pit bulls or bikes. It won't carry things by itself, but it's still a pretty good unit. Good removal for special units like Chuggy, Giga, MLRS, things like that. The big thing here is the speed nerf to fastest to faster. It's going to make it so the EMP is not as reliant, or not as reliable, I should say, for neutralizing units, because sometimes if you come on a pad at the wrong angle, the EMP doesn't catch the unit. So it's going to be interesting to see how that turns out there. Fnatic nerf, I think this one's negligible. You can break the numbers out if you want. It doesn't change the rifles. But basically Fnatic's attack every 0.3 seconds, so you're basically adding 0.3 seconds of kill time to most of the matchups above Missile Squad. Stealth tank change. Now it's not one-shotting pit bulls, it's not one-shotting bikes, so you're really gonna have to support your stealth tank with like a tank or something else to do your big AV damage or anti-vehicle damage. Disabling challenge battles in Tiberium League by increasing unit level cap. Really glad to see this is gonna make the top of ladder a lot more competitive. A little bit of a dirty change, but at least you can't level beyond level 15, right? It's just gonna make it so you can't put a level 1 deck or level 1 unit in your deck and then qualify for challenge battles in Tiberium League. Protect your medals that way. So glad they did that. So going into this tier list here, let's just quickly cover the commanders. Seth, I believe he's going to be really strong. Catship not as good at countering him anymore. Extra tempo, I think he went from OP to OP. It's just my opinion. That's just like my opinion, man. Yeah, I think Seth's going to be really, really strong, especially since he answers heavy infantry. Oksana, I think Oksana is really strong with a stealth tank, shade, scorpion, mutants, Kim warriors even. They melt infantry when you pair them together. So I put Oksana in OP tier for that reason. Kane, I'd run him with more light decks. So you have like light air like Banshee and these infantry here. And Kane will be a really good removal for scorpions, Giga, things like that. Stealth tank for sure. And that'll be interesting to run. I think Kane actually went up a little bit from the last patch. If we see a transition to War Factory and away from air, because that's been his big weaknesses, like tripling air decks. Then Jade all the way down here in the below trash tier. Honestly, always kind of felt this way, but even more so now. If the economy is limited, you're not going to be able to throw away money. This is not going to be the way. And the base plan, a little bit harder to do now because base health increase. So I'd say probably avoid Jade unless you really want to meme the explosions. So just going to quickly gloss over everything here. 10 cost units, think they're going to be your bread and butter. Don't take any of this as gospel, by the way, guys. Make your own decks, try your own things. I really think this is the best time to test things in the game. This is the best time, so go for it. But 10 cost units, I think they're going to be really strong for just letting you try build these other units. So if you rely on them, might have some good synergy with Scavenger. Like I said before, boost the chems to kill infantry. Boost the Scorpion tank through your chems to kill the vehicles that might be threatening your chems. Mutant Chuggy is always a good combo, so is a Laser Chuggy. And then we've got Banshee. Banshee's going to be really good as your third anti-vehicle unit, like maybe in a Mutant Chuggy deck. Maybe you run Stealth Tank, Mutant, and then Banshee. And then you have the trifecta to deal with like MSV if that's a problem. Right? So like that setup right there. Banshee might fit into a lot of different decks as we've talked, like Kane. I don't know, experiment with it. There's so much you can do with it. Maybe even Banshee Venom, Banshee Shade, that would be weird. Banshee Inferno. Maybe give that one a try if the economy allows. Yeah, it'd be pretty cool. Fanatics, I think Fanatics could go either way. So I think Fanatics are still better than Flames. Because you want that boost to really bring up the weakness of your Scorpion tanks. I don't think their combat ability was really impacted by this nerf, but maybe it was. Who knows? The big tell is going to be if snipers are meta. If snipers are meta, Fanatics are not playable. APCs going down is a little bit of a good thing for Fanatics, but it wasn't that big of a deal if you ran Scorpion with them. But now, like if Fanatics, if snipers are in the meta, I would not count on Fanatics. They're pretty good at preserving value because you could, like Fanatic Wall plus Scorpion plus Stealth Tank, and you can just get huge value from double boosting and killing stuff down. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see here on this. Venom, really flexible unit, love it. Maybe run it with Fanatics as a extra infantry, anti-infantry option here. It's good for flipping pads. Might be a little bit worse against Banshee. What else is there to say? I think it pairs pretty well with Shade. Shade, gonna be a removal for Chuggy, Giga. Still the tick tanks, MLRS, things like that. And it's still gonna be great against tanks. So you boost it, you get value. Use it if you need it. Inferno's probably in a good position for this meta if you can afford it. So I'm not really sure what the economy changes are gonna be like, but if Inferno is playable, maybe even with the Banshee, you're gonna be able to snipe these infantry. It'll be pretty good for that. Phantom's gonna be good if everyone's playing air, particularly these expensive ones like Orca and Shade. Otherwise, Phantom might not be as good. I really like Phantom plus Giga still. but maybe you want to play stealth tank instead to not have to go into an extra building. So I don't know, play it by ear, see what you like, and try some stuff out. Tick tank gonna be a little bit weaker because I think more people are gonna be playing Orca, but stealth tank doesn't one-shot it anymore, so maybe you can get it out in the field and it can do some work, some return fire in against a stealth tank. Giga's gonna be pretty strong if you can get a snowball, I think. I've actually struggled against that in the past. If I can get my harvester camped, I think Giga's actually really difficult to deal with. Flame tank and artillery, depending on how they change the economy here, these are the most self-sustaining snowball-y tech. So if you can get your artillery online and protected, I think that you will snowball so much money that it will still be good. So maybe look out for that, but otherwise might not be good. So might be in the bin, depending on how the economy shapes up. Scavengers might push you over the limit. They might even work in a no-harv deck. Play these 10 cost scavengers, throw in some other stuff like Chuggy or whatever. You have a deck maybe that works with no harv. Flames, I think Fanatics are just better, so wouldn't run them. And you have Seth also as an alternative. Buggy could be good if people move away from Shade and they also move away from Tank, but I don't see that happening. Shade, Orca, just hard counter Buggy Rhino, so you just don't have enough tempo on the first missile, and that's after the first missile they fall off. So maybe if they could do something to address that, they would be a lot better, but just don't see it happening. So Drone Swarm, or Laser Drone rather, kind of in the bin because of Banshee now. You can kind of do some cheesy stuff if your opponent's playing Bike Wheel and just spam a bunch of laser drones, but I'm not really a fan of it. I'd rather just play the Banshee now. Cat Ship, we've already covered it. It's pretty much unplayable. Might play it with a Chem deck just to mess around because the Chems are actually able to live because the Cat Ships aren't killing the Chems. So it might be a fun combo to just mess around with. And then all tech, I just say probably in the bin here, probably trash, just because economy is going to be your limiting factor, right? So really think about how you choose to play your tech here. Might be playable, might not be playable. We'll just have to wait and see what the economy does. And then Scarabs, we know it's not that good. We know they're S tier, but we're going to put them in the below trash tier just because. Let's just move on to GDI. So moving on to GDI here, OP Pitbulls. They basically beat all air now. So they even beat Shade. Sometimes Shade could come out ahead with like some clever play, but I think now Pitbull just actually answers all air. And then it also even answers Stealth Tank by itself. So Pitbull really good now. Let's go on to the commanders real quick here, or I forget. So I believe previously Strong Arm was here, but I'd actually put her around here to here. Still gonna win first missiles with it, but because of the nerfs to the economy and to Strong Arm, you might be just pushed out of the game, or you can win the second missile. And then at that point, it doesn't really matter. And if you have more War Factor units, it's going to be easier to just nuke down the turret. So your mileage will vary here with Strong Arm, I believe. Jackson's going to be more consistent. It's 20 cheaper than Strong Arm now. And it just has better synergy with a lot of the units that are looking strong here. So we got the cheap units, right? It does okay with those, but Jackson's going to be really good with Orca. It's going to be really good with Predator, Snipers, MLRS for sure, so you can reposition it. You can make sure it hits the right target. Razorback, so it can deep dive these snipers and these MG squads. Yeah, I'm really thinking that Jackson is the play. Solomon, I think he's just too expensive. If you mess him up in the current patch, he's just... You're down too much Tiberium. Good players will push you off the map and you won't even be able to harvest anymore. In the upcoming patch, I believe it's going to get even worse. So I don't really recommend Solomon unless you're going for the meme. McNeil is kind of a parallel to Strong Arm. I don't think he's unplayable. He's kind of fun, but I don't think he's that good. You kind of have to be winning for him to make a difference. So if you're kind of messing around against slightly worse players, McNeil definitely a fun pick, but other than that, wouldn't really recommend him. Maybe he is good. I think he has decent synergy with Slingshot and Sniper. Not so good with MLRS, honestly. I'd rather just have the boost for that. Maybe some good synergy with Shatterer as well, honestly, just because if multiple units trying to walk in, it can mess up their pathing and keep them off the Shatterer long enough for it to do work. Liang's a meme. Hopefully they give him a buff that doesn't let him steal pads in the future. But yeah, I'd like to see some Liang play maybe for value. That could lower his costs. I think that'd be a good direction maybe. Orca, actually let's start back up here. So Pitbull counters all air. Cheapo units definitely. Drone Swarm, spam the pad. That's not going to change. Banshee might challenge it, but I still foresee Drone Swarm, its cheapness and the economy changes being a perfect storm for it to be good. Talon, it's really good against infantry. It's also really good against air, so it's a very flexible pick that can like round out your deck. I could see it in like an MLRS deck. I could see it in maybe even a sniper deck for tempo or a JJT deck. But I think JJT is going to be a little bit on the weak side, especially if sniper and MGs are played, and if the beefier units are played like Chem Warriors. So Orca, really good unit for sniping units. I think it's going to come back in the meta, especially with APC falling off. But if APC does remain in the meta, I think it will remain in the meta if basically everyone's still running these light, cheap units. If everyone's still running these cheap units, APC is still a really good pick. But otherwise, I think Orca could come in and be really useful with Predator. It deals with MLRS, it deals with Giga Cannon, which Predator cannot. And it's really good with snipers for just being a hard removal in that sense. It's also good against tech. MG squad, let's jump into jump jets here. They're still really good on the first missile. You're going to be able to steal whatever you want. But I would say that they are a lot weaker in the mid to late game because they can't engage quickly enough. So you're going to have to be really on point with your pad flips. It's still a strong unit, but if Sniper's in the meta again, maybe not the play. Hammerhead, I think it's really good with Predator. Snipes down Orca, Shade, things like that. So maybe you play the Predator Hammerhead combo. If you need it, I think it edges out Phantom a little bit in that regard. 2 shots Talon in the Banshee, which you require 3 shots for Phantom against those. And overall, I just find the Hammerhead's going to be a really consistent pick with Jackson. Might not be economically viable, though. We'll have to see. MG squad, I think it's going to go from like a 50-55% win rate to 70%. That's my guess. And it's going to be because it says the late game harvesting rate. So I'm assuming harvesters are being affected here and not the base income rate is going to be slowed down. So the base income rate is the same. So no harv deck is going to benefit. And then you have nerfs to things like you have nerfs to strong arm and nerfs to catalyst gunship. These were natural counters to this unit. So less people are going to be playing it. So it's going to be a lot harder to deal with the MG organically. Snipers, really good unit. I think you're going to be able to snowball heavy value, especially like Predator tank as your front line. So maybe look out for that. We got Slingshot here. Slingshot's going to be good if everyone's playing light air, and then Shade isn't like a hard counter to Slingshot anymore. So maybe you can make that work, especially on the right map. The map is all clustered together. Slingshot definitely going to shine there. But the economy, it costing 60 might be a problem. Predator tank plus shocks, I think is a really good combo. And we already mentioned the snipers, just because you can radar the Predator tank through the shocks. The shocks are very tanky, and it's actually a good answer to Mutant Chuggy, which I foresee being a pretty common deck. MLRS Shock, also a pretty good deck to mess around with here. Maybe you don't run the Shocks though, maybe you run something else. And I'm leaning towards MLRS Razorback actually myself. But with really good play, you can snipe off Chuggies and get value that way. And then MLRS looking like a good unit, maybe if War Factory sees a lot more play here. APC, if everyone's playing light air like we talked about before, APC is where it's at. Otherwise, don't really see it being played. Could be wrong though in that case. Razorback, really love it if you want to deep dive the snipers in the MG. Use Jackson boost on it, easy. Otherwise, Razorback's still a fun unit, has that Raider mechanic. Love to see it. Grenadiers could have a toxic synergy with like snipers maybe. You park it in front and then it tanks for the snipers and the snipers take out all the light infantry. But I don't know, remains to be seen. Grenadiers actually not that bad against Chuggy if the Chuggy's mismanaged at all, because it's snared and then it will snipe it for free. It won't take that much damage in return. But the increased cost has me thinking that it's not going to be that good. Well, we'll have to see though. Rhino, not that good. I think tank, Orca metas, anytime these are meta, just not really that good to play it. MSV might actually be good, especially if we're more in the War Factory. MLRS MSV is actually really, really good. I don't think the reload rate was actually affected by whatever they did, so it's still reloading like super fast, but may not be the play. Who knows? MSV is still kind of a weird unit. It's kind of clunky, doesn't work on a lot of maps, so just be aware of it. Might be pretty good, might be fun. Who knows? Shatterer, not that good, honestly. It doesn't trade well with lasers, mutants, or jump jet troopers even. So I'd say maybe play around with the Shatter if you like it. Give it a try. Same with the Mohawk, honestly. These units are... It's like a better meta for these units, but it's also a worse meta. Because like Shatter answers Chem Warriors pretty well, but at the same time, it's like not good against mutants. And then Mohawk might be better because there's less stealth tank, but because there's more Banshee and more Talon, I could see Mohawk falling off, right? So try them out. See how you like them. Zone Trooper and Titan, I think they're the best of the tech, but like all tech, I think the economy changes and the tech lab changes are going to make them not very good. So that's going to do it, guys. That is the balance patch in a nutshell, my take on it. And the paper, keep in mind, this is a paper tier list, so don't take it as gospel. Anything can change, and get out there and find the next meta deck, guys. Let us know what you're going to play. I'd love to hear it. And yeah, you can post it down below, and I'll catch you on the flip side, guys. Take it easy. Peace.